Dean Martin was leaving the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas at 2 a.m. on a cold December night in 1968, heading to his car after his second show, when he heard something that made him stop. Whimpering, soft, desperate, coming from behind the dumpsters in the back parking lot. Dean was exhausted. He'd done 2 shows, sung for 4 hours, smiled until his face hurt. He just wanted to go home. But that sound, that desperate whimpering, he couldn't ignore it. Dean walked over to the dumpsters, looked behind them, and there, shivering in a cardboard box, was a dog. Not a puppy, a full-grown German shepherd. Skinny, matted fur, one eye swollen shut, limping, clearly hurt, clearly abandoned. The dog looked up at Dean with that one good eye and whimpered again. And Dean Martin, who'd seen a lot of sad things in his life, felt something crack inside his chest. What Dean did in that moment and what that dog did over the next 10 years proved that sometimes the things that save us aren't what we expect. Sometimes salvation comes on 4 legs with a broken spirit that matches your own. It was December 14th, 1968, Las Vegas, Nevada. Dean Martin was at the peak of his career, but the bottom of his soul. His marriage to Jean was falling apart. His son, Dean Paul, was struggling. The Rat Pack was dissolving. Frank was doing his own thing. Sammy was on the road constantly. Dean was performing night after night in Vegas, but he felt empty, going through the motions, smiling on stage, dying inside. The booze helped, the cigarettes helped, but nothing really helped. He was 51 years old, rich, famous, beloved by millions, and completely alone. That night's shows had been good. The audience loved him, standing ovations. But Dean felt nothing, just went through the routine, sang the songs, told the jokes, took the applause, walked off stage. His manager wanted to talk about upcoming shows. Dean said he'd call tomorrow. Just wanted to leave, get in his car, drive home, pour a drink, sit in the dark. His usual routine. He walked through the back parking lot, the employee lot, quieter, fewer people. That's when he heard it, whimpering. At first he thought it was a cat, but it was too deep, too pained. Dean stopped, listened. It was coming from the dumpster area. Most people would have kept walking, called security maybe, let someone else handle it. But Dean had always had a soft spot for things that hurt, maybe because he hurt too. He walked over. The smell of garbage was strong, rotting food, stale beer, the metallic tang of something Dean didn't want to identify. Cold wind was blowing through the lot, carrying the smell and making Dean's eyes water. The whimpering got louder as he approached, more desperate. Dean looked behind the dumpsters. There was a cardboard box, the kind that washing machines come in, torn on one side, wet from rain or melted snow. And inside it, trying to make itself smaller, was a German shepherd. The dog was big, should have been maybe 80, 90 pounds of muscle. But it was so thin Dean could count every rib, even in the dim parking lot light. The dog's fur was matted with dirt and dried blood and things Dean didn't want to think about. Its left eye was swollen completely shut, purple and infected. Its right front leg was held at an odd angle, not touching the ground, and it was shaking, violent shaking. Not just from the December cold, from pain, from fever, from fear, from having given up hope that anyone would help. The dog saw Dean, tried to back up, but there was nowhere to go. It whimpered, not aggressive, just scared. Dean knelt down slowly. "Hey there, buddy, it's okay. I'm not gonna hurt you." His voice was soft. The same voice he used on stage, but genuine this time, real. The dog watched him with that one good eye. Dean could see intelligence there, and pain, so much pain. Dean looked around. No one else was there. It was 2 a.m. The lot was empty. This dog had been left here, abandoned, maybe dumped. Maybe it wandered here looking for food. Either way, it was hurt and alone and scared. And Dean understood all three of those things intimately. He reached out his hand slowly. The dog sniffed, didn't pull away. Dean gently touched its head. The dog flinched but didn't bite, just whimpered again. "Yeah, I know," Dean said quietly. "Life's been rough, hasn't it? I get it." He ran his hand down the dog's side, felt the ribs, felt the matted fur, felt the shaking. "Can't leave you here, buddy. You'll die out here." Dean took off his jacket, his expensive jacket that cost more than some people made in a month, wrapped it around the dog. The dog didn't fight, just let Dean pick it up. Dean stood. The dog was heavy, even skinny. Dean carried it to his car, a Cadillac. He opened the back door, laid the dog on the leather seat, still wrapped in his jacket. The dog looked at him, that one eye, and Dean could swear he saw gratitude. Dean didn't go home. He drove to an emergency vet he knew, a 24-hour place that catered to Vegas performers' pets. He carried the dog inside. The receptionist's eyes went wide. "Mr. Martin, what happened?" Dean looked down at the dog in his arms. "Found him behind the dumpsters at the Sands. He's hurt bad. Can someone see him now?" The vet came out. Dr. Morrison had treated Dean's kids' pets before. He looked at the dog. "Let's get him in back. You coming?" Dean nodded, followed them, watched as they laid the dog on the exam table. Dr. Morrison started checking. "He's malnourished, severely. This eye infection is bad, probably been there weeks. His leg's broken, old break, maybe a month ago, never treated. He's also got some internal injuries I can feel. Probably got hit by a car." Dean felt anger rising. "How long's he been like this?" Dr. Morrison shook his head. "Hard to say, weeks at least, maybe months. Someone either abandoned him in bad shape or he got hurt after being dumped. Either way, he's been suffering for a long time." Dean's jaw tightened. "Can you fix him?" Dr. Morrison looked at Dean. "I can try, but Mr. Martin, this is going to be expensive. We're talking surgery on the leg, treatment for the eye, might lose the eye, antibiotics, recovery care, probably $3,000–4,000. Dean didn't hesitate. "Do it. Whatever he needs, money doesn't matter." Dr. Morrison nodded. "Okay, I'll start tonight. You can go home. Come back tomorrow." Dean looked at the dog. The dog was looking at him. That one eye. Dean reached out, touched the dog's head gently. "You're gonna be okay, buddy. I promise." The dog's tail moved slightly, just a tiny wag, the first sign of hope Dean had seen. Dean came back the next day, early, 8 a.m. He brought coffee for the staff, asked how the surgery went. Dr. Morrison said, "Better than expected. He made it through, but recovery will be long." Dean sat with the dog for an hour. The dog was sedated, breathing steady. Dean held his paw. "You keep fighting, buddy. I'll be here." And he was, every single day. Twice a day sometimes, morning and evening, for 2 weeks. He'd sit beside the dog's kennel, talk to him, read him the sports page, sing to him quietly when no one else was around. The staff thought it was the sweetest thing they'd ever seen. Dean Martin, one of the biggest stars in the world, sitting on the floor of a vet clinic singing "That's Amore" to a broken dog. The dog improved daily. The leg healed, the eye socket closed, the infections cleared, the weight came back. Dr. Morrison said, "He's a fighter. Most dogs this hurt would have given up, but he wants to live. I think he's fighting for you." Dean named him Lucky. Because the dog was lucky Dean found him, and Dean was lucky he found the dog. When Lucky was well enough, Dean took him home. Big house in the hills, empty house. Dean's wife had moved out months ago. The kids were grown. It was just Dean, and now Lucky. Lucky followed Dean everywhere, room to room. If Dean sat down, Lucky sat beside him. If Dean went to bed, Lucky slept on the floor next to the bed. If Dean drank on the patio, Lucky lay at his feet. The dog never left his side. And slowly something changed in Dean. He started drinking less. Because Lucky needed to be walked in the morning, and Dean couldn't walk a dog with a hangover. He started eating better. Because Lucky needed to eat, and Dean couldn't feed the dog without feeding himself. He started going out less. Because Lucky was at home waiting, and Dean didn't want to leave him alone. People noticed. Dean's manager, his friends. Frank called one day. "What's going on with you? You seem different." Dean was sitting on his patio, Lucky's head in his lap. "I got a dog," Dean said. Frank laughed. "A dog? Since when do you have time for a dog?" Dean looked down at Lucky. The dog looked up at him with that one eye, full of trust, full of love. "Since I needed one and didn't know it." Lucky had one trick, one behavior that Dean never taught him, but the dog did anyway. Every night when Dean would start to spiral, when the loneliness would creep in, when Dean would reach for the bottle and start pouring drink after drink, Lucky would do something remarkable. He'd come over, put his head on Dean's knee, look up at him with that one eye, and whimper. Not the scared whimper from that night in the parking lot, a different sound, a concerned sound, almost human, like the dog was saying, "I'm here, you're not alone, please don't do this." And it worked, every single time. Dean would stop, put down the glass, look at Lucky, and something in that one-eyed gaze would reach him when nothing else could. Dean would get down on the floor, sit with Lucky, pet him, talk to him about Jean, about how the marriage fell apart, about his kids and how he felt like he'd failed them, about the emptiness of performing for crowds but coming home to silence, about feeling like a fraud. Everyone thought he had it all, but inside he was dying. Lucky would just sit there, head on Dean's lap, listening, not judging, not offering solutions, just being there, present. And Dean realized that's all he'd needed all along. Not advice, not pity, just presence. Someone who saw him, really saw him, and loved him anyway. One night, about a year after finding Lucky, Dean was on the patio. It had been a bad day. His divorce papers had come through. Final. Official. His marriage was over. Dean had poured a drink, then another, then another. Was reaching for the fourth when Lucky came over. Did his thing. Head on knee. That look. That whimper. Dean looked down at him. "You know what, buddy? You saved my life." Lucky's tail wagged. Dean put down the glass. "I found you in a parking lot, broken, hurt, alone. And you were me. You were exactly me, and I saved you. But really, you saved me. Because taking care of you meant I had to take care of myself. And I forgot how to do that." Dean kept performing, kept doing shows, but he changed. People could see it. He smiled more, real smiles, laughed more, seemed lighter. Frank noticed. "It's the dog, isn't it?" Dean nodded. "Yeah, it's the dog." Frank smiled. "Who knew? Dean Martin, saved by a one-eyed mutt." Dean looked at Lucky lying in the sun. "Best mutt I ever met." Dean and Lucky were together for 10 years. The dog's health slowly declined. The injuries from before, the trauma, it caught up. In 1978, Lucky couldn't walk anymore. Dr. Morrison said, "It's time, Dean. He's in pain. The kindest thing is to let him go." Dean sat with Lucky on the vet's floor, held him. "You were the best friend I ever had, buddy. Thank you for everything. Thank you for saving me when I didn't even know I needed saving." Lucky died in Dean's arms. Dean buried him in his backyard, under a tree. Put a marker. "Lucky, my friend, you taught me that love doesn't need words, just presence." Dean cried, really cried. First time in years, but they weren't sad tears. They were grateful tears. Because Lucky had given him something he'd lost, a reason to care, about something, about himself. Stories like this one deserve to be remembered. The moments when legends found salvation in unexpected places. The love given by creatures who ask for nothing but presence. If you want to hear more stories about the people who shaped an era, the healing found in quiet companionship, and the humanity that made them whole, this channel tells those stories. Because these aren't just tales about famous people, they're lessons about what saves us. After Lucky died, Dean never got another dog. People asked why. He'd say, "Because Lucky wasn't just a dog. He was my teacher, my friend, my salvation." You don't replace that. You honor it by remembering. Dean performed for 12 more years, retired in 1990, and every Christmas he'd visit Lucky's grave, put flowers, sit for a while, talk to the dog like he was still there, tell him about his year, his life, his kids, and thank him. Always thank him. Dean Martin died in 1995. He was 78 years old. At his funeral, his son Richie told a story about the night Dean found Lucky, about how that one-eyed broken dog had saved his father's life, about how Dean had said, "I thought I was saving him, but he saved me, taught me that being needed is what gives life meaning, that presence is the greatest gift, that love doesn't require perfection, just showing up." That's the Dean Martin story that should be told. Not just the songs, not just the Rat Pack, not just the Vegas shows, but the man who found a broken dog in a parking lot and saw himself, who took that dog home and learned how to heal by helping something else heal. Dean Martin stopped for a whimpering sound at 2 a.m. when he could have kept walking, and that decision changed everything. Because sometimes salvation comes when you stop running from your pain and start caring for someone else's. Lucky saved Dean by letting Dean save him. And that's the most beautiful kind of redemption. The kind where brokenness recognizes brokenness, and they heal together.